Now, at first glance, I really want to arithmetize here or use the calculator in some way. This algebra looks messy. I know how to do it. I know that I'm going to have to, add fractions that involves getting a common denominator. But my thought would be, can I arithmetize? The answer is yes, but it takes cleverness. It takes confidence with the arithmetize strategy. And this is why I make videos like this, is sometimes you are able to solve confidently with algebra, but I like showing you the strategic method so that kind of files itself away in your brain so that in other cases where the algebra doesn't work, you can go to that strategy. So let's do the algebra first, because I do think most of you are going to go this route. So you're going to do x minus 2 and x plus 5 as the common denominators here. So you're going to multiply this by x plus 5 and this by x minus 2. And technically what we're doing is x plus 5 over x plus 5. So that way we are multiplying by 1, right? So same thing over here. I'm just not going to write it because it's not going to fit. But yes, we are multiplying by 1. So that way things kind of cancel in a nice way. And now we would have 2 times x plus 5 over x minus 2 times x plus 5 plus 3 times x minus 2 over x minus 2 times x plus 5 is equal to rx plus t over x minus 2 times x plus 5. So if all the denominators are the same, we can do a bunch of different things. We can add the two things on the left, and we can do it without worrying about the denominator anymore because it's the same as what's on the right. So first, let's FOIL. So this is, or distribute 2x plus 10, and then that's a plus 3x minus 6. So what do we get? We would get the 2 and the 3. We're going to combine, so that's 5x. And then 10 and negative 6 is plus 4. And that's technically over x minus 2 times x plus 5. And that is equal to rx plus t over x minus 2 times x plus 5. Now, would you write all this extra stuff on your scratch? I'm genuinely curious. Put in the comments. Where are you taking shortcuts? Is it costing you in other places? I don't know. But now we have values of r and t, right? We can kind of just see it that rx plus t matches up with this 5x plus 4. So r is 5 and t is 4. So what is the value of rt? That's 5 times 4 is 20. And that's the answer. So it ends up not being so bad. We do need to be confident, though, with our fraction rules and with our distribution and all that stuff. And I'll be honest, if this plus right here were a minus, now I'm in dangerous territory because now I've got to worry about distributing a negative. And I think a lot more of you are going to have trouble with that. And so you got to look out for that stuff. And if you saw that negative there, would you trust yourself to take care of it? Or, if you did it wrong, I would bet that one of the wrong answer you would get would be one of the answers here. So you just got to be mindful of those things. So how could we arithmetize, right? I mean, it seems like we need to know the individual values of r and t. Well, what we could do if we wanted to arithmetize is we could take them one at a time. So my default move is making x equal to 0. And if I do that here, notice what's going to happen on the right. The r is going to go away because r times 0 would be 0. So I'd end up with just t over, and then that would be negative 2 times 5, right? Because the 0 would go in for all the x's, and then it would be t over basically negative 10. And that's going to equal to 2 over negative 2 plus 3 over 5. Now that's still some fractions and it's kind of annoying, but I could do that. It's maybe a little easier fraction work because I don't have any real variables to worry about. I could also go to Desmos at this point. I have lots of moves I can make. I can simplify a little bit, but let's not even do that, right? So this is 2 over negative 2, and that is plus 3 over 5, and that is equal to, we got to change our t. Let's make it an x, and then divide that by, this time I'm going to simplify the negative 10, and I'm able to see my answer for t, right? I can just see it as a vertical line because basically what Desmos is doing here is solving this equation for me, and it's giving me that x is 4. So t is 4, which is exactly what we found, right? So there you go. That's one part accomplished. Now for the other part, I would then change my number and I would make x equal to 1 and substitute that in, because if I do that, then this right side is going to be r times 1, which is x, so r plus t. But we now know t is 4, so that right side becomes easier. So I'm going to go right to Desmos with this and just kind of plug it in with x equal to 1. So let's turn this off. And then we have 2 divided by 1 minus 2, and that is plus 3 divided by 1 plus 5, and that is equal to, being very mindless here. So r becomes x, right? I got to do it in this way so I can see what's going on, and it'll graph it for me. So x plus 4, because t is 4, and that's all divided by, we got to do this to make that easier, divided by, okay, so that's going to be 1 minus 2 is negative 1, times 1 plus 5 is 6. And we get 5. And there you go, t is 5. Or r is 5, sorry. So there you go, that's exactly what we got here. 5 and 4 is 20. Anyone got a better way? Feel free to let me know. The thing with the arithmetize is, yeah, you got to enter it in the calculator a lot. That's annoying on the iPad, but on a computer it might be easier. But you also need to know that those are really the only numbers that will work, is 0 and then 1. Well, I guess the second number we could do other things, but we would really want to stick to 1. And we need to kind of do them then separately. So it's a little bit more work. But especially if you are looking at this equation and you have no idea what to do, I think it's nice to know that, yes, eventually we can get to an arithmetize here and it will work like it always does. Mostly because the x doesn't matter. We don't need to know that value. So we just need to pick numbers for x that allow us to see the r and the t more clearly. I think even if you are confident in the algebra solution here, you should understand why the arithmetize works, how it works, because there may be weirder questions that you really want to know the strategies for. So the more you acknowledge and use the strategies, even in places where you don't need them, the more you will be ready to use the strategies in the places you really do need them. And that's how you get a better score on the SAT.